One of the ways that we can express ourselves is through the ways that we make up our home, either with different colors or photographs or different types of furniture. Whatever we use to create an environment in our home says a lot about who we are. So right now I am in the home of Don and Ella Schwartz. And early on, Don had introduced me to some of his artwork that he's been creating and displaying in his home. And he has been kind enough to invite me in so that I could show you some of his work and so that he could discuss it with us as well. So Don, you are using a particular technique for most of the pieces of your art. So I was hoping that you could show us, for example, a piece of your art and describe the technique that you've been using.
I do a technique that I think I'm, to my knowledge, I'm the only person who does it. And I make pieces and then use them in a mosaic. Most of the pieces are ceramic, but I work in found material. My son's a glass blower, so I use his glass in a lot of my pieces. Then I mount them on a board and I grout it, and that's what I do. This is a piece I did about a year ago. It, of course, has the Yellow Submarine from the Beatles, and I have a Ringo Starr, and I like it because it's in high relief.
Yeah, there he is. He's in the submarine.
I like a lot of textures and colors, and some places are gold. There's a lot of pieces that are blown glass.
Yeah. This green piece here is blown glass, right? You said your son
yeah.
makes things like this. This one here too. This
yeah,
variegated one, I guess.
Yeah, this one's glass. This one's glass.
Yeah.
This is a piece like I started out making. And why I started to do mosaics is because every time I did a large piece like this, it would take up my whole studio because I never had a large studio to work in.
Mm-hmm.
And it would take about a month to dry, and then very often they'd explode in the kiln. I lost about half of the stuff that I did. So I decided to start making small pieces and assembling them into larger pieces.
Mm-hmm. So this is really great because you were able to, something that someone else would see as an obstacle, you were able to use it as an opportunity to innovate and to create something really unique. And with a lot of your pieces now too, as you're saying, you have a lot of texture and dimension and different colors, so it's almost like you have a lot more flexibility as well with the technique you're using.
Yeah, well, again, and I think it's an unusual technique, so I'm going with it because, if nobody else is doing it, and you want, a big mosaic ceramic painting, you got one source. Although I'm sure there are other people that are doing a similar thing. It's a big world.
Mm-hmm. Okay, this is a really interesting piece too that I like. Why don't you tell us about this?
I think I saw something in the Museum of Modern Art that had similar. I mean, it was different, but I also it was fun because I get to try lots of different glazes, lots of different textures.
Mm-hmm. What do you call this?
It's called a square peg because everything is round. The insides are all round except for the one square peg, which is my signature. So I consider myself a square peg because I'm a little different.
So you don't feel like you fit in here?
I don't feel like I fit in anywhere.
Don't. You're that square peg down there, and other people are the round pegs. They all have very different patterns, so it's like we're all different people trying to fit into some sort of constraint, into all these little boxes.
Okay.
Trying to conform.
If you say so.
What do you think?
Yeah.
I mean,
that works for
me.
me.
Yeah, I mean, that to me, that's could be one of the messages that I see here. So why don't you explain to us what this piece here is?
That's a piece I did. It represents my my daughter's alter ego. My daughter is here as a child, and the piece is called I Am Eileen, Hear Me Roar.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically, it's this weak, modest little kid who's coming out trying to fight the world, and that's her kind of spirit coming out.
And it's interesting that you have her photo kind of in the center where you would imagine like her heart and soul would be.
That's the center of her being.
Exactly,
kind of.
Yeah. Kind of her authentic self coming through.
Well, that's a piece called Chaos. I have two pieces called Chaos. And it's basically, the world is somewhat chaotic, and we don't have as much control as we think we have.
Mm-hmm.
It makes your mind, form patterns and see things, and
Well, I guess maybe we do as humans have that tendency to try to identify patterns in what is oftentimes just something very chaotic, where there really isn't any.
Right. This is my studio, which is way too small, but this is a piece that I'm working on right now. You can see this is all coffee beans, and here's a piece of jewelry.
Yeah, I
And
love
then-
this brooch. That's really cool.
And then we're gonna have glass flowers coming out over out of the vase.
Mm-hmm.
This was I had an elderly aunt that died,
Mm-hmm.
and this is about 60 years worth of collecting sea glass at the seashore. She used to go every summer to a beach club, and you'd find a piece of sea glass every maybe 3-4 times she would go there.
This glass, though, this just remarkable that your aunt spent essentially a lifetime collecting something that most people would think, would want to throw away. They wouldn't consider saving it. Her legacy, in a way, is living on in your art.
She'll live forever until my things break.
Yeah, this is great. It's great. I bet it's making her happy right now.
Well, I showed her a piece that I did that had her glass in it, and she was glad that I used it, that I had a use for it.
Oh, it's wonderful. Great. One of the most interesting things here, what you've done with your art, was to create this fish pond.
Originally, it was there was no ceramics around it, and it was drained when we came in to buy it, and it was just raw concrete that was all water stained. There was bugs in the bottom, and it was all rusting out. So we made it into a fish pond.
The walls here are done with your art as well,
Right.
which is really nice. Most people don't have fish ponds in their homes, and
That's weird,
this is-
isn't it?
this is such
Everybody.
It's a unique character of this house, and I've had fish tanks before, and I always find just kind of sitting and watching the fish is very relaxing for me. I used to do that quite a bit.
And it's great because you'll actually, at night, like sometimes they'll splash.
Do you just watch them, or generally?
Yeah,
or?
I mean, I always like to stand upstairs
And watch,
them, and I just all the time you look in there.
Yeah. Don, I want to thank you for inviting us in and showing us what you have created through innovation. You've used your artistic talents to create a very unique and interesting environment in your work. It's really amazing, and I want to thank you very much for the opportunity to experience it. It's been a pleasure.
Quite welcome, and if any of people watching would like to see more of it, I have a website. It's wantimedon.com, and thank you all for taking the time to watch this.
Great.
I hope you've all enjoyed seeing Don's work, seeing how inspiration can come from an infinite number of places, and how passion with a purpose can lead to something truly remarkable. And if you are interested in seeing more of Don's work, please visit his website. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day.